What is going on, Ape Nation? So our markets are full of corruption, no doubt about that. And it appears that there's corruption on every single level. There's members of the Federal Reserve that are corrupt as hell, people in Washington corrupt as hell, and even these hedge fund market makers, you know who I'm talking about, Ken Griffin Citadel, Robinhood, the PFOF issues, the dark pools, all that crap is going on, and no one's doing anything about it. And don't get me wrong, I know there's been corruption for a long time, but it seems that now, it's all coming to light. Everybody knows about it. Everybody's talking about it. But when enough finally becomes enough, that's when things start actually getting done about it, which is exactly what we need. But this is also exactly where we're at right now. Enough is becoming enough. And the apes have been taking a stand. And the apes taking a stand is what's making a difference right now. This is why policies have been changed. This is why laws will more than likely get changed. And this is exactly what we need in order to win and have a better, brighter marketplace for everybody. Yeah, okay. Anyhow, I wanted to show you this very quick clip of Elizabeth Warren being questioned about members of the Federal Reserve. You know, those shady ones, those shady bastards that resigned and didn't face any consequences. Those. She's also being questioned about Washington and just overall corruption in the marketplace. So check this out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And we are going to get into it right away. But before we do, I just ask that you smash that like button so that the YouTube algorithm shares this video with as many apes as possible. And also, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe because I drop content just like this every single day.
Anyway, Senator, we wanted to pivot and talk about your speech today, the other topic, and the trading that we have seen by certain members of the Federal Reserve. In your speech today, just again a kind of question of the scale of wrongdoing, if indeed wrongdoing is proved, that you spoke about in your speech about a culture of corruption at the Fed, which again is pretty strong terminology. Have laws been broken?
I am concerned about a culture of corruption. When we find out that there have been 3 different high officials at the Federal Reserve who have engaged in practices that may be a violation of law, but certainly undermine the public's confidence about whether they are acting to line their own pockets or on behalf of the American people, that's a real problem. And it's a real problem in leadership. We need a leader who makes it clear. I mean, this actually shouldn't have been an issue. Who could be at the Federal Reserve in a position of authority and responsibility and think that it is okay to trade individual stocks or to move from a bond portfolio to a stock portfolio the day before there is a major announcement about possible changes in Fed policy? This is not hard stuff, and it shouldn't be even close to the line. And that raises questions about leadership. I've already said that I will not support the renomination of Chair Powell, but I think this is a second big problem.
And I know in the past, in the last Congress, you introduced the Anti-Corruption and Public Integrity Act, and your aim was to ban individual stock ownership across many different public bodies, the White House, Congress, the Federal Reserve. If you've seen any of our debates on this network about that topic in recent weeks, we understand it because we face tighter restrictions than those public elected officials. I guess, again, I just come back to the question, would you go as far as to say that any single member of Congress, many of your colleagues, who's ever traded an individual stock in their entire time in Congress is corrupt? Because you're using those words for a few Federal Reserve members, but I'm not sure you're going the same level with others that seem to be in the same boat in your eyes.
I've been talking about a culture of corruption in Washington for years now. I actually ran for President of the United States talking about corruption in Washington. And a significant part of that corruption is when the American public can't know whether or not decisions that an individual who's in power makes are for that individual's own financial gain or for the good of the country. And I think one way that we deal with that is we just say, you know, you can do one of two things. You can either be a member of Congress, you can be on the Federal Reserve, you can run a big agency, you can be in the cabinet, you can be in a big political and economic and decision-making position, or you can trade in the stock market, but you don't get to do both at the same time.
Agree. And just to the leadership point, and obviously you're calling attention to the right issues. I don't think Chair Powell would disagree with you, though, that this looks really bad and that the rules need to be changed. In fact, he has taken this issue very seriously. He hasn't shied away from it or diminished it. And just to play devil's advocate to you, you know, he's called for an independent IG investigation, is also doing a Federal Reserve investigation to change the rules, and has not backed any of his colleagues, Clarida, Rosengren, or Kaplan, for what they've done. It seems to be leading on this issue, actually.
This has been dragging on now for a while, and we have found out more about what's gone wrong with this latest Fed report. I believe that this should have stopped a long, long time ago. Look, what does it mean?
Were you calling for the Federal Reserve to not be able to trade members of the Fed to not be able? I know you've been banging the drum on this for Congress, but have you been doing it for the Fed?
I'm sorry. Yes. Go back and read my plans from when I ran for president. It was that nobody gets to be in a decision-making position in Washington and still trade in individual stock.